This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health. Dr. Joel Wallach. Let's go ahead and open up the doors as we start this live stream, which is actually a live Zoom here at dailywithDocZoom.com. So welcome everybody as you're coming in from the waiting room. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Super excited about today's show, as not often do we talk a whole lot about our little ones. So whether you are a parent, future, present, past, today's show is for you, as we are joined by Dr. Taylor Mitchell, and we're going to be talking about our little ones and their bellies and how what we present to them early on, even at preemie stage, can affect their health. My name is Becca Dukes, and I am excited to be able to offer this amazing resource that gives you tools in your toolbox so that you can choose a better health journey without being reliant on chemicals. Folks, our bodies, when we are experiencing poor health conditions, are not because of chemical deficiencies. Now, they can be chemical influenced, where we have more health issues because of chemicals. But for the most part, most poor health conditions are caused by a nutritional deficiency, even if it starts at birth. So hold on, as we are going to be talking more about that. And I am super, super excited, as I am a mother of 4 sons and 4 granddaughters, and I have many nieces and nephews, that all I want for them is the best, the absolute best. I see them hurting, and it just breaks my heart. So folks, we provide this as a third-party resource, especially for an amazing community, where when we're working within our own community, our own families, they may not believe us because they know us as they see us. Well, this information is provided by third parties, by medical professionals and certified holistic health coaches, masters in nutrition, for you to be able to share the message, so others may be able to not just hear it, but be able to better listen to the message that is being shared. So if somebody shared this program with you, make sure that you do get back with them and thank them for taking the time to share this information with you. If there is no one to thank, we do have an amazing team of certified holistic health coaches who are available for you if you have never spoken to anybody about anything that is mentioned in this show, whether it's the creator of the revolution, the crusade that we are on, Dr. Joel Wallach, or the company of the products that we do promote because they provide results, or a pharmacist, or any. If somebody shared this program with you, make sure that you get back with them. That's the most important part because they cared enough. So this program is being sponsored by Daily with Doc, and we are a group of independent longevity associates who have a passion for helping people. And the guests that we have on our program have that same shared passion. And today we bring to you Dr. Taylor Mitchell. She comes to us from just a mentorship of her grandfather and grandmother, who were in practice for 30 years as practitioners in a natural medicine field. It's a naturopathic medical doctor, also a formulator of many products, who also was very much in support of Dr. Wallach, longevity, their products, and their solutions to the nutritional deficiencies that are so prevalent around this world. So Dr. Taylor, she looks young, she's beautiful, she's vibrant, and she has just a beautiful and vibrant message as well. And Dr. Taylor Mitchell, thank you so much for coming and being here with us on Daily with Doc. I know your schedule is tight, but there's a few things that really are near and dear to your heart. And when we look at preemies, because I've had 4 preemies myself, you've experienced some preemies through family and friends. And what the medical community is offering is not always the best solution. So could you tell us a little bit more about what you know, and just share your heart, because I know that you're pretty passionate about this.
Oh, thank you so much for that introduction. It's so nice to see you all. So I work with a good amount of pregnant women, and I've seen a lot. And unfortunately, when it comes to medical doctors, that's what most people have access to. It's easiest. They can just pay for it with insurance. It's you don't have to really pay out of pocket. So people more than likely will go to the medical doctor if anything goes wrong. And I had this woman, she wasn't my client yet, but she reached out to me and she was asking for help. She was 6.5 months pregnant. She felt very off. So she went to the hospital. And while she was in the hospital, for some reason, they removed her mucus plug. And so basically broke her water. And she went through, and I don't want to get into too much details. It was horrific, but she basically just saw the darkness that can also sometimes take place in the hospital. And so, they wouldn't let her breastfeed her child. They would only give her child breast milk. And he got diagnosed with some rare disease that only children that are preemies get diagnosed with. And Infamil actually right now is under lawsuit, and they're losing big time because Infamil is really harmful for premature children. And so right now she's in a lawsuit. It's just, and that's a little crazy to start with that story. However, it's just very serious. It's just honest about what we're dealing with here. I mean, with what I would do something very different if people were to come to me with any type of issue. I would ask lots of questions. I would ask, do you use lots of hand sanitizer? Because unfortunately, hand sanitizer can be really harmful to your gut microbiome, and everything we absorb, our babies are absorbing as well. And so we have to be really mindful of what we're putting in our bodies and what we're not also putting in our bodies. So that's just some things I've witnessed. And so, I do not like Enfamil. I don't like a lot of the baby formula. There's healthy stuff we can make ourselves. Breast milk, there's nothing healthier in the world than breast milk. So it all starts with what are the children consuming? And also, what are the mothers consuming while they're pregnant? Because that makes a big difference as well.
Absolutely makes a big difference. And as we're talking about alternatives, what are some of the alternatives that you would recommend to somebody when looking at a substitute for breast milk? Whether it's to not substitute completely, but to augment and bring in addition to breast milk, what are some options there?
Great question. So the closest milk that we have to human milk is actually goat's milk. So with goat's milk, it's 80% whey, 20% casein. With cow's milk, it's 80% casein, 20% whey. So casein is sometimes a lot more harmful for the for the human stomach to digest and break down. And so goat's milk would be one of the best ones. And also, minerals are important. So I love our liquid minerals. That's important to give, to take, and also to even give our children, and even babies can take some of it. It's not going to hurt them. So giving them nutrients, getting them vitamins and minerals, however you can get it down, is important, in my opinion.
Well, and for those that can't take it orally, this is my favorite way. This is plant-derived minerals. It's in a 2-ounce bottle. You just spray it on the skin and let it naturally absorb and draw into the skin, which I love it because even if there's a digestive issue, it's skipping that digestive barrier going through the skin right into the blood.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have to do that.
Yeah, I love it, even as a freshener for my face and my hair. But whenever we're talking about the nutrition side of it, so with breast milk and goat's milk, do they have the nutritional value? I mean, you talked about the casein and the whey. Is the nutritional value, is it close enough to sustain life?
There will be, yeah, there will be some protein. I can't say that it's close enough to breast milk because, of course, breast milk is going to be some of the most nutrient dense with nutrients that a child needs. However, there will be some nutrients in there just depending on what the goats are fed, So if they're fed well, if they're fed nutrients, if they're fed, they're not fed grains and corn and soy for every meal, it will have some nutritional value, just like breast milk would, you know.
Well, and let's talk about mamas who are able to breastfeed their babies and their diets. How do their diets really affect the nutrition of what the baby is receiving?
So we are what we absorb, like Dr. Wallach says, and so is our child. Our children, while they're in the womb, are just sponges, and even outside of the womb, they're sponges. And so, if we're consuming Diet Coke, then there's aspartame in there, and there's, a lot of harmful artificial man-made chemicals. And so that's something that you want to avoid. And a lot of women, there's mixed things about getting your hair done, but actually, I have a dear friend who, one of her close friends is a hairstylist, and she did have a child with lots of birth defects, and she was constantly touching the chemicals. I'm not saying it's caused from that. However, I personally would just be mindful of, anything toxic you're putting into your body that's getting absorbed. And caffeine is really controversial because a lot of people love caffeine, but people drink a lot of coffee sometimes, and that actually can be harmful to the baby as well. And we eat things like wild caught fish or not wild caught fish, and they can have heavy metals, and, just children are sponges. And unfortunately, right now we're finding over 147 industrial and agricultural chemicals in cord blood. And so children, unfortunately, are already being born with dirty genes. And then you add something like a vaccine to a child who already has a lot of chemicals in their bloodstream already. I'm not saying don't vaccinate your children, just however, it's really important that you do a lot of research, and actually have a video I can send you guys that will really open your minds if you or anybody that is hesitant or questioning if vaccines are safe or not. I would definitely recommend you just watch it. And yeah, so we have to protect the health of our children. It's so important. And right now, children as old as 2 years old can be prescribed antidepressants. Not sure if you guys know that, but children at very young ages, because they don't have what is it called? Impulse control is what they're saying. And so it's, they're prescribing kids at a very young age medication. It's important to just have this information of like, there's other options out there, there's other things that we could do, diet and lifestyle choices we can make so we don't have to medicate our children.
It's funny that you mentioned that impulse control. Kids are going to be impulsive. They're going to be explorative and want to learn. And they're just wanting to medicate the kids so that they're compliant and need less babysitting.
Yeah.
At least that's my view of it. So I am very thankful for very healthy children who have not seen a lot of things injected into their bodies by a medical establishment, and they've been healthier than any of their peers. So I'm very thankful. something to think about, folks. It really is. You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
I have friends who have kids that were always sick, and they'd kick them back for more and more appointments where they were injecting things and they were getting sicker and sicker. It just doesn't make sense to me because we were divinely created with an immune system. So share with me a little bit about um, immune systems of babies and what we can do to help support that. And then we're going to go right over to AJ with a question.
Great question. Immune system of a child, Ben talks about this. As soon as a baby's born, they're coated with enzymes. Go through the birth canal, they're coated with enzymes that go into the baby's nose and baby's mouth and baby's ears and eyes, and that becomes their immune system. So what the immune system is a colony of enzymes and bacteria and microbial organisms, tiny little critters, and good and bad. And so whenever we support the good bacteria and make sure we're not killing the bad bacteria, and how we kill the bad bacteria is, like I said, hand sanitizer, too much hand sanitizer, that's harmful. That can definitely also, it's just, you're also killing bacteria on your fingers that protect you and things like that. It also can affect the pH of your hands. And then we're doing, tap water. If you go to a restaurant, tap water, it's, showering in it. I have a shower filter and I drink the best water I can find. Um, and pharmaceuticals, those are really harmful to the gut bacteria and our immune system. Our gut bacteria is essentially, our immune system. It's our defense system. It what protects us. It what fights off illness and digests our food and absorbs nutrients. Another thing that really destroys our gut bacteria is glyphosate toxicity that's sprayed on like 85 to 90% of the crops in the United States. That is the biggest one. And it's so hard to avoid. And I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now visiting my family, and it's just like there's very small amount of people who eat all organic here. It's a different life, and people aren't really outside. People are indoors, and there's so much bad bacteria inside. That's how a lot of people get like dirty jeans, is because the carpets can build bacteria, and showers build a lot of bacteria and a lot of mold. And all the bacteria is inside our houses. I'm not saying don't go in your house. However, all the healing and the cleansing powers of nature that's going to strengthen your immune system is outside. It's in the sun. It's in the grass. It's in the trees and the rivers and the waterfalls and the ocean and the lakes. That's where we experience true healing. And that, in my opinion, is so necessary for our immune system, our structural system, our cells, our DNA, our mood, our energy, our sleep. And sleep is really important too. I know mothers in particular don't sleep a lot when they have children. So, but children do usually. So that's good, because sleep is so important. And also plastic. Unfortunately, so many children are given plastic everything. I know I used to be a nanny and they would have me microwave their plastic bottles and feed them tap water, and I'm like, oh, like I was like, oh man, that's so sad. Um, just not enough knowledge about this kind of stuff, and so that's why it's so nice to have people like Dr. Wallach and Ben Fuchs, who can inform us, and myself, who can just teach us this kind of stuff. And some people will listen, some people won't, some people can't really handle this kind of information. And that's okay. There's tons of people who will. So that's good.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Taylor, you do a lot of your appointments virtually. So we're going to talk a little bit about that after AJ's question, because I know that you will have to leave us here shortly. So AJ, go ahead and unmute yourself. And what question do you have for Dr. Taylor Mitchell today?
Hey, Dr. Taylor Mitchell, thank you for being with us today. I know you got a busy schedule.
Yeah, my pleasure.
A couple of quick questions based on something that you said earlier. Uh, Goat's milk, can that be pasteurized and still be edible?
Yeah, you can buy it at the grocery store. I personally prefer raw. I like raw milk. It's so, incredibly healing for the body. You can get raw goat's milk too. If you're in Colorado, I can hook you up with a connect. But that's some of the most, powerful medicine that you can give a child is raw milk. But pasteurized is not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you.
And then you mentioned the Enfamil. I'm not entirely sure the reason that they have the lawsuits. I mean, obviously, you kind of mentioned it. It's not made for premature children, but is Similac or store brand better than the Enfamil, or is it like, are they all in the same category?
So, I personally don't like the baby formula industry, and I didn't get to my point with the Enfamil. So my friend had a child who was premature, and they give him Enfamil, and he passed at 8 days old. And there's a lawsuit right now going on around how Enfamil can be associated and be a contributing factor to the death of premature children. That's what the lawsuit is right now. And so, there's already a lot of people who have won, and she's probably going to win. But I would say that there needs to be some healthier baby formula out there. Unfortunately, there's really not. But maybe I can even work on formulating some because man, there needs to be something done about this. I mean, there's like corn syrup solids and all these terrible if you read the ingredients and it's so processed and there's glyphosate in there and it's just, they can contribute like dead bowels and things like that. And right now we're seeing I see 1-year-olds in my clinic who have rashes or have stuff on their feet or have, are really constipated. And I mean, I'm seeing children at a young age who do have some type of health issues. So I think it's so important for us to people about baby formula. Bo, right here, my nephew, he wasn't vaccinated and he never once consumed any baby formula, not once. And he's the smartest, healthiest kid I know. He's so cute, and I'm not saying that there's children out there, who can't still thrive if they've consumed this, but I think it's just, I would prefer people to stop using baby formula. That's just my if you're going to ask me.
So you're saying that kids won't be cute if they use Enfamil?
I don't recommend it whatsoever, but if you guys want to do it, you're more than welcome to.
No, I'm okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. That's a good answer, and hopefully, since you're with the family, maybe they will help you to concoct something that might be more appropriate for the kids.
That would be a great product to say, if somebody wants to launch that because people are mindful of what they feed their children and people will spend money on good quality formula. So thank you for that idea.
Thanks.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, AJ. And since you are from a family of formulators, I can't think of a better person to put something together. Just
Totally.
saying. So, Dr. Taylor, there have been so many studies that have found elements that are being injected into the body. Why?
That's a great question. Why are they doing this? It's in the name of science, right? So there have been some studies that I've done that have shown that these injectable things into children's bloodstream is to protect them, from like the polio, which is I'm not saying things, one for hepatitis B. Where's a child going to get hepatitis B? I don't understand why they would do that. And so as soon as the minute Bo was born, the nurse went right in to try to stick him right then and there. My sister's husband goes, "No, keep your hands and keep your needles away from my child." And I'm really glad he did that because if you want to look at these ingredients that they have in these, like, you wouldn't drink that. I mean, some people are okay. Some people, like myself, I was fully vaccinated. I'm I'm healthy. I'm happy, but I'm not saying everybody who takes vaccines is going to be doomed. But I think that if we need to educate people, if they will listen, because some people don't listen, about what's happening and how we're already exposed to so many chemicals, agriculture, industrial chemicals, candida, fungus, mold, parasites, viruses that we have to worry about that we're already getting passed down. And then you inject, man-made chemicals. We don't know what these are doing. Really, I mean, I have too many people I know who had children who were vaccinated and had really terrible reactions. I know some people who vaccinated their kids were fine. It's unfortunate. It's a kind of a roll of the dice with what you're going to get. And I'm not going to risk that for my kids.
I was just thinking that myself. It's like, as a roll of the dice, what are you willing to risk? And we know mercury is poisonous. That's just one of the things that has been found. Aluminum another thing, which with high levels of aluminum, there are cognitive issues. So I know that it's a topic where we have to be very careful because of censorship, folks, but we just want you to think about what it is that you're doing. Question even the authority. Take a look at for yourself what goes into what they're wanting to put into you, whether it's a vaccine or whether it's a box of food on the counter, on the shelf at the store. It does not matter. You have to read labels. And whenever they have those side effects in those pills that you're taking, pay attention to them. I know some of the side effects for some pills cause nutritional deficiencies. We've talked about that with pharmacist Ben. They can cause the side effects that create the need for another chemical block. Where with nutrition, have you encountered many poor side effects, negative side effects when administering nutrition, Dr. Taylor Mitchell?
Never. So
Yeah,
I always
never.
muscle test. So whenever somebody's virtually, I muscle test. You know, I do it myself. Whenever they're in person, I muscle test everything I recommend. And so, you know, I think I ask the body. It's so important to ask the body, and you can do it standing up and like ask, show me yes, and if you lean forward, that's a yes, or show me no. You can, you know, just oftentimes whenever you're asking muscle testing, you yes is leaning forward and leaning backwards is no, like whichever body or direction that your body goes. And I can actually demonstrate. I can maybe you can post a video in the comments after this about how to do that. But it's important that people do that whenever they recommend stuff for themselves and others, to muscle test, because something can be incredible, but does your body want it? Can your body absorb it? Do you have enough enzymes and bacteria to break it down and absorb it? I love longevity so much just because it's so highly absorbable, but unfortunately longevity is one of the only companies out there that has extremely highly absorbable and assimilatable nutrients, and unfortunately that's just not the case with most supplements. So it's important as well that people are taking supplements their bodies can absorb.
Yeah, and one thing about having such a high absorbability, it promotes detoxification faster whenever you're flooding the cells with nutrition and pushing out the toxicities. Yeah. That's something that I've experienced with many of my clients, where we sometimes have to start slow, depending on how toxic they are. Because with the toxicity and you're detoxing really fast, you could have some mild symptoms of like the flu. And they think, oh, these things are making you sick. No, they're getting the poisons out.
I know people like,
do you have any comments on that?
It's like, you know, actually that's your body releasing toxins. Your liver, you know, your liver holds on to almost everything that you absorb. Whenever you go get gasoline, you get gas on your skin. That gets absorbed into your liver. Stays there for a very long time unless your body actually you take something that can help your body let it go. And so, yeah, if you're taking a liver cleanse for the first time in your entire life and you're 65 years old, you might have some diarrhea. That happens, you know, it's your body like letting go of toxins. It's just, you know, some people have experienced that, some people haven't, just depending on how their body lets things go. And toxins don't always leave the body quickly and quietly. That's what I've seen too. Because they're, you know, they're toxic. Sometimes it's like, oh, that feels weird, and then you get over it and you feel amazing. That's why I love colon hydrotherapy. It's the fastest way to detox. I had a client lose like 11 pounds in one session. So, you know, detoxing is so important that we do that. If you want to have children, you got to cleanse your body, cleanse your blood, cleanse your liver, cleanse your colon, your digestive tract, because the toxic, dirty environment is not healthy for a child, you know?
Well, and when you think about it, if you've got toxic blood as a mother carrying a child, and that blood is what is going through and feeding the cells of that baby that's developing, I mean, they're developing in a toxic environment.
Yeah, for sure.
So just lots of things to be mindful of, folks. It is just incredible what we don't think about and what we do take advantage of. As young mothers, older mothers, grandparents, it really is important what is in your diet and in your environment, not just your diet, because the things within us or within our environments, heavy perfumes, odors, chemicals, all those things can contribute to poor health conditions for ourselves, for our unborn child, and our child.
One
And
more
even
thing I
our
want to
grown
mention.
child.
Sorry to interrupt you. One more
Go
thing I
for
want
it.
to mention before I have to run is that another thing that we have to do is protect our mental health. So people who are anxious and stressed out and have, you know, a lot of, I would call it a lot of heart heat, they're quick to anger, they're reactive, they overthink, that's really going to affect your child. Emotions affect children so much more than people realize, and people have miscarriages because they're really stressed out, or their partner's stressed out, and women can't produce breast milk because they have too much stress and they don't know how to deal with it. I highly recommend that everybody, even if you don't want, you know, children, or it's already too late, you already had children, take care of your mental health. Our mental environment is connected to every organ in our body. Each emotion is affected to an organ and vice versa. And so we got to take care of our bodies, protect ourselves from absorbing toxic chemicals, and also we have to protect our mental health and our emotions.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because if we are emotionally wrecked, that's going to flow over to pretty much everything we touch, talk about, think about, everything in our environment. Well, Dr. Taylor, thank you so much. I know that you have to get going. We greatly appreciate you. And I know that pharmacist Ben, we're going to go ahead and ask him to start his video. He's going to be joining us here and helping us finish out the show. So hello, pharmacist Ben. And I know being in Colorado, which is where Dr. Taylor Mitchell usually is, you guys have spent a little bit of time and presenting together, and I just appreciate both of you for being on here with us today.
Thanks, Taylor.
He said, thanks, Taylor.
Thanks,
I don't know if you could hear.
Myself. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you filling in. They're really lucky the audience is really lucky to have you.
All right.
So, I think we're pretty lucky to have both of you. So thank you again, Taylor, for taking time from your schedule, and our thoughts are with you and your family. Thank you.
I'll do my best to still be tuned in. I'll just turn my video off and I'll listen to you guys.
Oh, perfect. 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 So pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
We were talking about children and early development. And
what a perfect topic. Because I was going
to,
I was going to save this for Friday, for Pharmacist Fridays, but got this article yesterday that was very interesting about autism.
Oh.
And so that's perfect for your topic here today, children. So autism is obviously this very frustrating health challenge for parents to have to deal with, for doctors to have to deal with, for patients to have to deal with. But as we've talked about ad nauseum, all health challenges that are chronic, that do not resolve. The body resolves things. It's a homeostatic system. It heals, it regenerates. All health challenges that do not resolve, that violate the first pillar of human biology or of animal biology, which is healing and homeostasis, the first pillar of health, which is healing and homeostasis and regeneration, all health challenges that violate that first pillar, they don't regenerate, they don't heal, they don't recover, they don't reverse, all of them, ALL, 100.000% of them need to be backtracked to the intestine. This is the only reason why we don't understand this is because we don't believe it. Now, people who do understand it end up with results, but not a day goes by without some health challenge being scientifically backtracked to the intestine. Yesterday, I got this article on autism. Autism obviously is very frustrating. We get calls on it all the time. We get We get questions about it all the time. And if you ever ask me, if I'm on coast to coast, if I'm on the calls, people call me, I would say, go back to the intestine. There's intestinal problems always associated with it. And the only reason why this doesn't land as well as it should for some people, it does for a lot of people, but for some people, is because of belief, because we think it's too simple. It's not. The bloodstream is the delivery system of toxicity. The bloodstream is the delivery system of immunity. The bloodstream is the delivery system of inflammation. In order for a disease to progress or to occur and then progress and not regenerate, there has to be some kind of toxicity and inflammation and immunity involved. And the bloodstream is the delivery system for that. How do things get into the blood? With the exception of through the skin, it's through the intestine. So it's just logical. And the only reason why we don't get this is because it just doesn't seem, I think, help me out. I don't know why we don't get this. It makes sense to me. And if I had a kid with autism, that's what I'd be doing. Or if I had any other health challenge, that's what I'd be doing. But I think it's just belief because it sounds too simple. So just real quickly, this is an article that came out in the Journal of Personalized Medicine. I think it came out this year. I don't see the month, but it came out this year. I just read it yesterday. Reversal of autism symptoms. Reversal of autism symptoms. How many parents out there who have kids who have autism would be thrilled to hear or to read or to understand that there's a reversal that can occur? If you know anybody with autism, right? Can you imagine a parent who's gone from doctor to doctor and has this kid with this horrible neurological, cognitive health issue, emotional health issue, and they don't know what to do, and the doctors don't know what to do, and there's no medicine, they're frustrated? How many of those parents would love to know this? Reversal of autism symptoms among twins through personalized lifestyle and environmental modification. Quote, this case describes associations between modifiable lifestyle factors, that's things you can control, environmental exposures, and clinical approaches to treating autism. It goes on to say that autism is associated with extensive gastrointestinal symptoms, and comorbidities include immune dysregulation. The immune system is involved. Autism is an immune disease. So for parents out there who are like, what the heck do I do? For doctors who are out there, healthcare professionals who are out there, what the heck do I do? It's an immune issue. Just that piece of information alone is so powerful because the immune system is your defense system. And if it's an immune issue, that means there's an attack. And the attack is typically coming in through food. Immune dysregulation, gastrointestinal issues, diarrhea, constipation, dysbiosis, meaning messed up gut bacteria, poor detoxification, inflammation, food sensitivities, evidence of environmental toxicants. This is likely where the vaccine issue comes in. And other structural or functional challenges. Specific modifiable risk factors include exposure to toxins, poor diet, disruption of the gut microbiome. This is all the stuff we talk about. This is all the stuff I've been talking about for 30 years when it comes to autism. It's all stuff all the longevity healthcare professionals, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Wallach have been talking about for decades. So the only reason I thought this was interesting and important is because it just reinforces this almost boring, repeated link to all health challenges that we talk about on every program that I talk about every time, between the digestive system, between food and the intestine, and neurological or any other chronic health challenge. And this especially is true about people who are dealing with chronic infections that don't heal. And I'm thinking about long COVID, and I'm thinking about chronic Lyme disease. These are two infectious issues that get treated typically with antibiotics or antivirals, things killing medicine that kills the bad guys, so to speak. And the real problem is, like everything else in the way of chronic degenerative disease, at the level of leaky gut, intestinal permeability, dysbiosis, intestinal health, and foods. So that's what I was going to talk about that on Friday, but seeing as how you were talking about kids' issues, I think this is really relevant. And also, and I got a question here from AJ for somebody else. How would you deal with an infant with autoimmune disease? Well, first of all, and I don't want to go over the mechanism again, but by the way, everything I talk about, I always give you the mechanism. AJ and I were playing around and joking around yesterday. I said, I want to do quick bright bite, quick 5-minute, 10-minute YouTube videos. And AJ says, yeah, right, you're not going to do 10 minutes. There's no way I could do it in 10 minutes. And I never do it in 10 minutes. It always takes me an hour, or it takes me half an hour. It takes me a lot longer than 10 minutes. Why? because I don't like just saying, take this, take that. I want you to see the mechanism. The mechanism is so fascinating. It's called a mechanism. When it comes to medication in pharmacy school, we study mechanisms, or more completely, mechanism of action, they call it. The mechanism of action is the most fascinating and the most relevant and the most important and valuable part of understanding a medicine, a drug, and the mechanism of the disease process is the most important and the most valuable part of understanding a disease state. If you go to the doctor, they say, I don't know. They call these I don't knows idiopathy. Sounds like idiot, right? It's not. It comes from the word idea. And something that's idiopathic is mean we have no idea. And that's what they say. If you have an autoimmune disease, I'll answer this question about autoimmunity in infant in a second, but the mechanism of autoimmunity is not only fascinating and valuable, it's logical. It takes autoimmunity from the realm of mystery and idiopathy into the realm of understandability. It takes it out of the realm of medicine and puts it in our laps so we can understand it. And this is the goal here. The medical model, they're not bad people. Representatives of the medical model are not bad people. In fact, the ones who work in the emergency side of things, they're angels. And I don't know if you've ever been in an emergency room, but let me tell you something. The patience, the kindness, the love, the understanding, the technique and skill set of the emergency room practitioners, the doctors and the nurses and the EMT folks, these people are holy people. They're the saints of our medical model. They need to be honored and deified and respected. But on the other hand, in terms of chronic long-term degenerative disease, if these people get an A+, these people get an F-, because it's not in their skill set to do it. That's not what they're trained to do. They are trained to do emergency medicine, and they're applying it to chronic medicine. And that's why we get drugs, and that's why we get ablations, and that's why we get electrocuted, and that's why we get surgical procedures and organs removed, because they're applying emergency medicine, which is wonderful for emergencies, to chronic lifestyle issues, which is most of our health challenges. Do you see how important that is? It's not that they're bad people. They're applying the skills that work so well in the ER and that are so life-saving in the ER to chronic degenerative disease where it has no application. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you go to the best carpenter in the world who can build the best cabinets in the world, the best furniture in the world, and you ask him to go fix your car, he's going to take a hammer and nail, he's going to try and fix your transmission with it. Right? What's it going to do? What's the hammer and nail going to do to your engine or your transmission? Right? And that's what an ablation is. That's what a surgical procedure is. And then we say, you silly doctor, you ruined my engine. Well, he says, that's where you came to me. I'm a furniture guy. I have a hammer and nail. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So, it's not their fault. It's our fault for asking them to do it. And by our fault, I don't mean that we're bad people either. That's what we're trained to do. And in fairness, that's what they tell us. They hang a shingle up and they say, oh, I'm an autoimmune specialist. I'm a neurologist. I'm a GI specialist. When was the last time a GI specialist fixed anybody's GI problem, aside from taking out their intestine? Never. When was the last time a neurologist fixed anybody's multiple sclerosis? Never. They can't do it. Not because they're dumb. Not because they're bad. Because they don't have the training or the skill set. But that doesn't matter. Because we can do it. So for autoimmunity involves distortion of a tissue, making that tissue appear like the enemy. The immune system is finely tuned to attack the enemy. The attack on the thyroid or the pancreas or the kidney or the muscles or the nerves, wherever it is, that the immune system begins, is not because the immune system is stupid. It's not a mistake. It's that the immune system sees the thyroid or the organ as different, as the enemy, as it's distorted somehow. How does it get distorted? Well, it has to somehow get distorted through something in the blood. That's the only contact the thyroid has with the immune system. The only way the immune system can get to the thyroid, I'm just using the thyroid, Hashimoto's or Graves, as an example, but any other organ you want. You can do it with the nerves or the muscles or anything else. The only way the nerves, the muscles, the thyroid, the pancreas, whatever it is, has contact with the immune system is through the blood. Autoimmune disease is like all disease. It's blood-borne. It's blood-borne. Disease that is chronic is blood-borne. Take that to the bank. Health coaches, memorize that. This is your key to resolution and makes you much more powerful than a doctor in terms of resolving. All chronic disease is blood-borne. It's carried in the blood. So how does the blood get toxic? How does the blood become activated, inflamed? And how do immune particles get in the blood? Well, through the skin. And this is why you want to be very, very careful with anything you inject in the skin. And anybody, a healthcare professional who tells you, oh, don't worry about it, you just inject this thing in your skin and you'll never get shingles and you'll never get COVID, blah, blah, blah. Look at them sideways. You got to be very, very careful. And by the way, during this whole thing that happened a couple of years ago, if you watch TV with all the wonderful healthcare professionals saying, no, this is going to save your life and lots of people are going to be saved and we got to get injected and you got to do it, blah, blah. They were all emergency room doctors. Did you notice that? That on the news, when they had the doctors who were promoting this, they were all ER doctors. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them were emergency room doctors because that's their perspective. So all chronic health challenges that don't resolve are blood-borne. You can get blood toxicity through the skin. That's true if you inject. But for the vast majority of people, the blood toxicity that is delivered to the glands or the organs or the tissue that becomes the subject of autoimmune attack comes in through food. And I know it sounds simple, but it is simple. In physics, we have a concept called simplexity, which states that the most complex forms can come from the most simple building blocks. It's called simplexity. You can Google it. It's a tried and true physics concept that was developed in the last 50, 60, 70 years. The body it follows this principle of simplexity where complex symptomology comes from basic building blocks. This is great for us because it means we don't have to go to doctor. We don't have to try this protocol and this prescription drug and this surgical procedure and get a second opinion here and a third opinion there. We can do it ourselves, people. We can do this ourselves. This is what longevity is all about. We can do this ourselves. That's why Doc called the company American Longevity, because he knew we can do this ourselves. We can do the money thing ourselves. We can do the health thing ourselves. We can do the longevity thing ourselves. We can run our own our own financial affairs ourselves, and we can run our own health affairs ourselves. Please understand this, because this is the key to our power. And there's so much misery, health misery. And I get these letters. I want to cry when I get these letters because people are so frustrated. They don't know what to do, and the doctors aren't helping them. So autoimmunity is the end result of attack to a gland, attack to a tissue, attack to a structure in the body. That structure, that gland, that tissue is attacked because it looks foreign. It looks foreign because it's become distorted from toxicity that's been delivered through the blood. The question then becomes, how does toxicity get into the blood? Well, it comes in through the skin, but for most of us, it comes through the intestine. Focus on digestive health, intestinal health, always. Throw out the doubts and this can't be the case. My doctor didn't tell me this, and this sounds too simple, and I love my French fries. I'll never stop eating them. Throw all that out and just try this. Number one, do a fast for 1 or 2 days. When you fast for 1 or 2 days, that does lots of things. Number one, if you have a stream of toxicity that's getting in through a leaky gut, that stops. So immediately you're going to feel better if you have this stream of toxicity. That's called stopping the bleeding. As we've talked about before, if you get into an accident and your bones are all broken and your body's all messed up and you're bleeding, what's the first thing the EMTs do? They stop the bleeding. You stop the bleeding. And that's done by fasting. Fasting also allows the digestive system to clean itself out. During periods of non-eating, the migrating motor complex, the neuromuscular contractions that propel food out of your body kick in. We've all heard that by the rumble in your tummy. And we've talked about this before. Then the cells themselves, the tissues themselves begin to clean themselves out when there's no food put in through a process called autophagy. So fasting, number one, stops the bleeding. It stops the stream of toxicity. And number two, it gives the body a chance to clean out. At the cellular level through autophagy and at the digestive system level through the migrating motor complex. Then, when you start eating again, you do a food diary. You do a food diary, eating as simply as you can, starting with your favorite foods. You write down those foods and you write down how you feel. For most people, they'll notice their favorite foods cause problems. And then you put them on a list, you stop eating those foods. Now, the good news is once you clean everything out, you can start having your ice cream and your French fries and all the other foods that you love so much, you can have them once in a while. But when you're in an emergency condition where you're dealing with a disease state, you have zero tolerance. for anything that's inflammatory that's getting in through the digestive system, and that you assess what those foods are through a food diary. Don't use your memory, write things down. It's really instructive too, because you start to see, oh my gosh, every time I have corn, I bloat. Every time I have wheat, I get pain. Every time I have milk, I get brain fog. Every time I have beans, I break out. You start to notice things. Now you got some power. Now you have some control. Just the psychology of that is so huge, because you go from the state of, oh my God, what is happening to me? Where can I go? Nobody can help me. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is terrifying. This is the cause of sleepless nights. This is the cause of depression and misery. We don't know what to do. But now you start to see, now you're giving your client or yourself, if it's you, power. You start to see stuff. You start to notice places that you can work. You start to see that there's a cause to your effect. And then you write everything down. You start to eliminate. It may take you a couple of weeks, may take you a month, it may take you years to do it eventually, ultimately to get everything done, but it can start right away. Then you start to strengthen the digestive system. And one of the cool things about longevity is the digestive products, digestive system products. The I-26 for autism, for autoimmunity, for any kind of digestive health issue or inflammatory issue that's associated with digestive health issue is a must. It's a very underutilized product, although I have to say, between Rebecca and AJ and myself and all the other folks and Dr. Wallach, over the last few months or even the last year or so, we've really been hitting that hard. And for good reason. It's super effective and very easy to use and relatively inexpensive for the kind of benefits that you get. The I-26 is technically called hyperimmune egg, and it's a product that takes advantage of this science of hyperimmune egg technology, which is about 10 or 15 years old, where they figured if they give eggs an antigen, the egg's a bad guy, an antigen's a bad guy, it stimulates an immune response. The chicken will have an immune response that will come out in the eggs, and that immune response, those antibodies, will now be available to kill bacteria in the intestine. Now, this is all part of a condition called SIBO, and this leaky gut is usually preceded by SIBO. I'm not going to get too much into SIBO, except to say small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. There you go. And there's a few other versions that are coming out now of the I-26. It's a must-have for anybody who's dealing with these kinds of health challenges. The Nightly Essence, likewise, a must-have. It's the best probiotic supplement that you're going to find. And longevity does have a few probiotic supplements, but I like the Nightly Essence the best. The Ultimate Microbiome, which is formulated by Dr. Conaway. And as much as I know about the digestive system, I don't even know a fraction of what Dr. Joanne Conaway knows. And she's a tremendous asset to longevity and just a wonderful human being as well. She was a nurse before she became a naturopath. And she's just, she's a major go-to resource of digestive health that we have here at Longevity. So she formulated the Ultimate Microbiome. Go crazy with the Ultimate Microbiome for cleaning out the intestine. Then the ultimate enzymes. The ultimate enzymes prepare food for digestion and absorption at the level of the intestine. When food is not digested properly in the stomach, it doesn't get digested properly or absorbed properly in the intestine. In fact, large particles of proteins can leak into the bloodstream to initiate immune responses when there's enzyme deficiencies. So the enzymes are very, very helpful for people who have autoimmune diseases because it helps the body break down the proteins efficiently. Without enzymes, you can't break down your proteins efficiently, and you get large chunks of proteins, technically peptides, that get into the bloodstream, get into the intestine and then into the bloodstream. These peptides are major activators of the immune response by preventing the formation of the peptides by providing for more complete digestion at the stomach level. The enzymes, the ultimate enzymes, can help prevent some of the immunity that's associated with leaky gut. And if you take the enzymes, ultimate enzymes on an empty stomach, this is what's really cool about the ultimate enzymes. That's if you take it with food. But if you take it with an empty stomach, they help clean the blood. They help thin the blood. And by the way, it's no accident that people who had the injection or people who had the virus, supposedly, the COVID virus, supposed COVID virus, what are the main problems? They're blood problems, clotting and myocarditis and pericarditis. Duh. If you understand what I just said here, you understand why that would happen. You got toxins in the blood, so you got an immune response. The ultimate enzymes can help clean up the blood. For people who are dealing, just a lot of times we'll get questions about, oh, what do I do? I was vaxxed and I want to make sure I don't have toxicity. Ultimate enzymes on an empty stomach. Any kind of inflammatory issues, ultimate enzymes on an empty stomach. Do you want to say something, Becca? Were you about to say something?
Well, we do only have about 8 minutes, and
Okay, I'm
we
just gonna
have
add
at least
one more.
2 questions.
I'm just gonna add 3 more products here. Dr. Arias's liver cleanse, and I texted
True
with
to life.
texted with Dr. Dr. Arias yesterday, and I asked him about the liver cleanse. If he had a gallbladder taken out, he said no problem. So for folks who don't have a gallbladder, Dr. Arias liver cleanse is fine. And for anybody who wants to detox, it's an amazing, amazing detox for the gallbladder and for the liver. And then also the Daily Digest, which comes in little packs, which is super helpful, very easy to use. And then the last thing I want to mention is the digestive pack, if you want to do it in a pack. If you want to get everything in a pack. I love the packs. There's a lot of other things to do, but that is an incredible start. As far as a baby goes, it's much easier with a baby. Why? Because a baby's not eating a lot. A baby's not going to McDonald's, hopefully not, and going through the drive-thru. A baby is typically breastfeeding or eating a very limited diet. Focus on that. For the baby, I don't know if the parent is on the call here. Ask the parent about the baby's bowel movements, about gas, about colicky, about having colic. Bumps on the skin are oftentimes a sign of toxicity getting into the intestine through a leaky gut, even if they don't have autoimmunity. Eczema is also a sign. Skin sensitivities, colickiness, grumpiness are also signs. And then also chronic ear infections or chronic colds are also signs of things getting into the blood through a leaky gut, through the intestine. Ironically, what do they give you for colds and for chronic ear infections? Medicine that destroys the microbiome, making matters worse. And then, of course, you get stronger antibiotics, and ultimately you'll get tubes and all kinds of stuff. And all you really need is to work on digestive health. This is so easy. Please, it's so easy. I feel like people are rolling their eyes. I can't see it, but I think I can imagine everybody rolling their eyes. There goes Ben again talking about the digestive system. But because I see the letters and I see the pain, I read the letters and I see the pain and the distress and the just abject misery people have, I have to keep doing this over and over again, talking about digestive health. And last thing I'll say is when you have leaky gut, dysbiosis, digestive problems, not only do you deal with toxicity getting into the bloodstream, but you also deal with malabsorption of nutrients. So now, in addition to being toxic, you're functionally starving or malnourished, which is why the longevity products can be so helpful, especially the liquids, because they bypass digestive issues and you get rapid absorption of nutrients into the bloodstream. Okay, so I hope that helped. I hope that helps with the person with autoimmunity, the parent with the child with autoimmunity. If you like AJ, hook them up with me. We can do a 3-way call, me, you, and the parent. I'm happy to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben. So Shirley is making a comment that she breastfed all of her kids and it was like brain food for them and it protects them from viruses.
What is that? What did she say?
Breast milk?
You know, I made a couple tasteless jokes on my last call, I think, but really, breast milk is so amazing. And yes, there's antiviral medicine. In fact, there's a component in breast milk that was actually part of the official National Institutes of Health COVID protocol called lactoferrin.
Unmute?
Did you mute me?
I did not. Was not me, I promise.
So there's a component in breast milk called lactoferrin that's actually part of the COVID protocol. So yes, breast milk is antiviral, breast milk is antibacterial, breast milk supports a strong immune system, breast milk is a powerful digestive and intestinal, nutritional, contains powerful digestive and intestinal nutritional components. Breast milk, breast milk, breast milk, breast milk. And if you can't breastfeed, and some people can't, unfortunately, there are no replacements. And sometimes the replacements are worse than nothing at all. I'm thinking particularly of the stuff that has rancid vegetable oil in it. Rancid vegetable oil in Enfamil and soy milk and fake breast milk. These rancid vegetable oils, which Doc has been talking about for years, are the base, and they're there to imitate the fats that are in breast milk, as if rancid vegetable oil can imitate natural fats. And the sugar that's in baby food or baby formula that's supposed to duplicate breast milk is there to imitate the natural complex sugars that are in breast milk, which are so valuable and so supportive for the immune system, for building immunity. So try to ideally breast milk. If you can't breastfeed, it's very hard. And unfortunately, soy milk or Enfamil or whatever they have now is not a good replacement.
Well, fortunately, there are breast milk banks where there are some mothers that give more milk than their child
That's
will
awesome. That's
will
awesome.
eat, drink,
Yeah.
or they want to continue to help support other mothers who aren't able to. So you can find a breast milk bank in your area.
Yes.
Next question is Teresa has a 3-year-old grandson that was diagnosed with autism. You were talking about that earlier. He is nonverbal, and she would like to know what can she give him nutrition wise to help support him be the best he can be.
He's eating. He's not breastfeeding. He's eating solid food.
Correct.
Eggs.
3 years old.
Well, you have to watch for problems, for food problems. Assuming that there's no problems, eggs are one of the most valuable food you can eat, and don't cook the eggs too much. Put the eggs in a smoothie. I-26 eggs, and I would want to ask this patient, this grandparent, about what they call comorbidities. A comorbidity is another health challenge that runs parallel to the main health challenge. So I want to ask about comorbidities. Chances are there's going to be digestive comorbidities. So you're going to want to address digestive health. That means eliminating problem foods for a 3-year-old. Assuming if a lot of kids can't eat eggs, but if a kid can eat eggs and smoothies are great. Vegetable juices, and there are some vegetables that kids have problems with, so you have to be careful there. Vegetable juices are going to be great. Zero tolerance for the foods kids love, which are cereals and sugar. Zero tolerance for those. Zero tolerance for fried fats. And, I say zero tolerance, and that's hard to do, but aim for zero tolerance for all of these foods. And I forgot to mention that fried fats, maybe I did mention this, fried fats are one of the causes of a leaky gut, these rancid vegetable oils. And oh, by the way, the FDA, I think it was the FDA, just banned something called BVO, which is an acronym that stands for brominated vegetable oil. I don't know if you ever heard of brominated vegetable oils, but brominated vegetable oils were another toxic rancid oil that was put in soft drinks, so-called soft drinks, soda pop. And brominated vegetable oil acts as an emulsifier, and food manufacturers figured out by putting this brominated vegetable oil in Mountain Dew and various soda drinks, they could make the drink have a smoother quality. These brominated vegetable oils have just been banned. So if they're still drinking those kinds of foods, obviously those soda pops and so-called soft drinks have no place in a kid's diet. But believe it or not, orange juice can be a problem. Apple juice can be a problem. In fact, fruit juice is a huge problem. People we had this idea, this cultural idea that fruit juice is really wonderful stuff. Orange juice, come to the Florida sunshine tree, la la la. You get this images in our head of how wonderful orange juice is in Florida and all that's all marketing. And remember, marketing and health are oftentimes, usually, mortal enemies. Just like food processing and health are mortal enemies. So you got to be really careful. But I would be going with liquids, smoothies, our TMR. I've talked a lot about the TMR, but that's an awesome nutritional protein powder. I do the TMR, crack an egg in there, put maybe some blueberries, some frozen blueberries. Blueberries are great for the brain, but you got to be a little bit careful because some of these foods the kid can react to. So you got to watch for the kid if the kid reacts. Also, vegetable juices, likewise, be careful for vegetables that cause reactions. And chicken soup, homemade chicken soup, very soothing for the intestine, helps build and strengthen the intestine. It's also very powerful immune boosting food. So homemade chicken soup or bone broth, as they say.
So how about something like the kids Toddy at 3 years old, or the KidSprinklz for nutrition?
Everything we're talking about presupposes the Healthy Start Pack as the core. And I would go Beyond Tangy Tangerine. The kids Toddy is great. I like the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That's my favorite for little kids, just smaller doses.
And yeah, so little kids, 30 pounds, you're going to do third of the scoop of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in water.
Yeah, and also maybe one essential fatty acid. If the kid can't swallow, you can stick a pin in the EFA and you can squeeze it into into your smoothie. Just into the smoothie. And also, I should also say, one of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, by the way, is an epic product. You could build a whole company, you could build a whole multi-level network marketing, multi-level company just on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I've been formulating products for 40 years. I know a good formulation when I see it. That is an epic formulation. It's not, you're not going to get it in the health food store. There's no duplicates for that. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine. However, there's a couple problems with Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Number one is if you take too big of a dose, it will pull water through your intestine and you'll get bloated, or you'll get diarrhea or get discomfort, some kind of digestive discomfort, particularly if you already have digestive issues. So start with smaller doses and work yourself up. The instructions, I think, say 2 scoops in a glass of water. That's huge. And there's a lot of people who don't do Beyond Tangy Tangerine because they tried it and they tried to follow directions and they ended up with some kind of digestive issue. And now they don't do Beyond Tangy Tangerine at all. They're missing out on one of the most incredibly comprehensive, dense, nutritionally packed supplements they could ever take because they took too much all at once. So start off with a smaller dose if you can't do it all at once. Plus, the body always likes divided doses. If you take too much all at once, you're going to excrete. Your body will eliminate what it doesn't use. So you won't get the most bang for your buck if you try to do it all at once. So smaller doses, and also the larger doses have a strong taste. There's so much nutritional value in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine that they had to put a lot of flavoring and a lot of taste, like peach or cherry or whatever it is you're taking, to cover up the taste of the minerals, especially calcium, which has a really nasty taste, and some of the aminos have a really nasty taste. So if your patient or your client or you say, I don't like the taste of it, back off to where you do like the taste of it. Find a sweet spot where you like the taste of it. For me, the sweet spot is about half a teaspoon. And I'll put a half a teaspoonful in a bottle of water like this, and I'll sip on it. When I run out of it, I'll put another half a teaspoonful. And in a day, I'll maybe go through 3 or 4 half teaspoons full, which is a couple of teaspoons full of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And it tastes great. You get no digestive problems, and you get energy. And if you're on medication, you'll find that you're using less medication, or you're needing less medication. If you're trying to lose weight, you'll find that you're eating less food. And that's one of the great underappreciated and understated benefits of nutritional supplementation is you eat less food because you get more bang for your caloric buck.
Yep. Eat less food because your body is not starving for nutrition, folks.
Yes.
So it is 5 minutes after the hour. Do you have time for another one?
You can take one more.
Okay. So here's a question that is coming from Sherry. She has a neighbor who, for some reason, a severe reaction to foods from a 1-year-old and everything they consume. They're trying to pinpoint the foods causing the issue.
Hang on. The 1-year-old is having reactions to everything they eat.
To the foods that they're eating.
Is the 1-year-old eating solid food? What is the 1-year-old eating? Can't be a lot of food.
Let me bring Sherry on. So
what
go
is
ahead,
the 1-year-old
Sherry.
eating? Hi, Sherry.
And as far as I know, I've just discussed this with her today. The 1-year-old is eating solid food.
Okay, well,
The problems have been not everything they eat, but they can't pinpoint which foods are causing it. A couple of times they've had to take him to the hospital because he had trouble breathing after eating, and they can't decide which food.
Trouble breathing is a classic immune reaction, classic activation of the immune system. And what other symptoms does he have when he eats? Rashes, itchiness, diarrhea?
No rashes, just trouble breathing.
It's breathing issues, mostly breathing issues, and it's after specific foods. Okay.
As far as they can tell, they can't decide what specific foods it is. That one they did think was grains.
Well, here's how you do it. You give them greens and see what happens. I don't know. Greens are typically not an issue, but it could be. Nuts. It could be milk. Dairy is a big problem for a lot of kids. Eggs are a problem for some kids. Beans can be a problem. Grains can be a problem. And vegetables can definitely be a problem. Not necessarily green leafies, typically not, although that can be. Usually it's things like tomatoes or potatoes or eggplant, sometimes broccoli. At this point, though, if it's been going on for a while, there could be issues with the leaky gut, at which point a lot of things can cause the problem. So it's harder, but it should be, you just give them one food and see what happens, basically, is how you do this. And that's how, not just for kids, adults the same way. One food, don't eat complex foods when you're trying to test, when you're doing your diagnostic assessment, just a very simple kind of food. Instead of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, just have peanuts. Instead of a tuna fish sandwich, just have tuna. Instead of eggplant parmesan, just have eggplant. You know what I'm saying? Just have one type of food, eat as simply as you can, so you can do forensics more accurately.
Would you recommend a scratch test? They want to do a scratch test.
You can do a scratch test. Scratch test will tell you about histamine. And
Okay.
likely there is some histamine involved. Usually, histamine is a very common bad guy. It may be the most common denominator for all of these kinds of health challenges. As you know, as most people know, histamine is responsible for a lot of immune symptoms that we get get when we have hay fever, we have pollen allergies, we have seasonal allergies. But those same kind of reactions can happen inside the body. This leakiness. And that's really what immunity is about. Immunity is about leakiness, and it's about redness. Why would there be leakiness and redness associated with immunity? Well, when the remember, the blood is carrying the immune system. It's carrying all the white blood cells. It's carrying all the immune factors, and it's delivering them to the areas that are being attacked. When it gets to the skin, or when it gets to the respiratory system, or when it gets to the eyes, the blood vessels will expand to release all the immune factors. So the expansion of the blood vessels is functional in the sense that it's how all the immune factors get delivered to the appropriate tissues. But you can observe this expansiveness of the blood vessels by redness and by itching. Redness and itching are the calling card, the observable phenomena of an activated immune system. So whenever you see redness or whenever you have itching, classic case being rosacea, which is another one of those things that doctors, we don't know what causes it. We have no idea what causes it. If you understand everything I just told you, you understand more than a dermatologist does about rosacea. So anytime you have redness, you have itching, you got immune activation, because that's representative of the blood vessels expanding to dump out all their immune factors to combat the enemy, to fight the enemy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. And anybody who has a question that we don't completely answer on these calls, you can always reach out to AJ or Becca or Sherry or Phyllis or Albert or anybody out there, and I'm happy to do three-way calls with everybody, with all the longevity folks or whoever needs a call, because sometimes we can't be totally comprehensive.
We are so appreciative of you and the time that you spend with us, either on the show or individually with our clients, pharmacist Ben. And one final question. I think this will be a quick one. Can you do a dirty fast and take your minerals?
And what? Dirty fast and what?
Take minerals.
Yeah. So here's the thing about fasting. Fasting really means fasting from calories. When you fast, you're giving the body a break from the burden of caloric processing, calorie processing. Calories are found in protein, fats, and carbohydrates. So when you fast, you're really talking about fasting from protein, fats, and carbohydrates, which are the caloric carriers in food. There's no calories in water. There's no calories in fiber. There's no calories in minerals. There's no calories in aminos and in vitamins. There's a little bit of calories in essential fat, in fatty acids, but not much. There's no calories in probiotics. So you can do all your supplements while you're fasting. You won't get... Sometimes people, when they take supplements on an empty stomach, get a little digestive distress. They weigh on the hard in the stomach, so you may have problems there. Absorption is facilitated by digestive juices, which is why for most supplements you want to take them with foods, because the body is already set for digestion and absorption. It won't hurt you to take a day off from your supplements. If you're just kind of doing a diagnostic procedure to try to assess what foods you're having problems with, if you're fasting to clean the body out. But you can definitely take your supplements if you want to with foods. That's not going to interfere with the fast or with your fast. That's not going to interfere with your fast.
All right. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben.
Thank you, Becca and AJ and Phyllis and Marilyn and Ruth Ellen and Albert and everybody else. God bless everybody.
God bless you. And Teresa, can you please contact me, questions@dailywithdoc.com. She had some more questions in regards to her grandson and gave some information. So please contact me as I have some answers for you. And thank you so much to our co-hosts who are here with us. We have Ruth Ellen, who is the executive production manager, to help keep everybody organized and everything rolling smoothly and running the OBS stream. So thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for that. We have Albert, who is helping to let people in, and that's his focus, is to make sure that everybody is getting in timely and able to hear the message. So if you were here live with us, it's because Albert let you in. So Thank you, Albert. And we have Marilyn and Phyllis. I'm going to combine you because you both were really tag team in that chat today, doing such a great job at taking the information that's being shared, putting it into the chat, which is one of the greatest features of being here live with us, is being able to see that information, which we do not have on the different live streams. And for a couple of reasons. One, we want to protect the privacy of the people that we have within our community, within our program. So thank you, ladies, for doing that. As our speaker is giving recommendations, they're putting those recommendations into the chat so that our audience can take pictures of it and keep it, and then get with their coaches and say, hey, this is what I need. So thank you, ladies. And we have Sherry, who is helping with the stream, and bringing questions in from the different platforms. And I know Phyllis is also watching that as well, looking for questions. So thank you, Sherry, as she is part of the technical team and getting things set up for the stream as well. And for AJ, who is kind of everywhere in getting the program out on the live stream, setting up those accounts, making sure that everything is running smoothly. So thank you so much, AJ, for that. I know we have some other coaches on with us, folks. They're taking time investing in you, in getting knowledge so that they can share this knowledge with you and be better informed themselves to help the communities that they are helping. So if you're interested in being part of a community that really is dedicated to helping others, we invite you into our community. Get with the person that shared this program with you. They are very instrumental in getting the information out, and you need to tell them thank you for all that they do, because without them, the message would not be shared here, near, and wide. And if there's nobody that you're working with, nobody referred you to the program, and you would like to become involved, or you just need help for yourself as well, and you're not working with anyone, we do have a call team at 855-949-3377 available to help you. And I've got them trained so that if you want to join the business, they can help you do that. If you want to get yourself right first, they can help you do that. And it doesn't matter what age or what stage of life, folks. As you've heard Dr. Wallach, you've heard pharmacist Ben, you've heard Dr. Taylor Mitchell, you've heard Dr. Kara Ringland, you've heard Dr. Dennison, you've heard Dr. Conway. Nutrition can be implemented at any stage of life and receive benefits. No, our products do not diagnose, treat, cure any disease. Nor does this program take the place of a primary care physician. But folks, we weren't created by a pharmaceutical company. We were created by a much greater entity who does not make junk and designed us in a way that when we are fed right and take care of our temples can do some amazing things at maintaining or regaining health. So take this message and share it with somebody that you know. Let us know where you're at. If you're watching on any of the different platforms, we want to know what our reach is. And most of all, thank you for investing this time into yourself. You are so important, so valuable. And you're not listening to this program just by chance. It's because you or someone you needs to hear it as well. My name is Becca Dukes. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. You can find us on pretty much any platform you may be watching us. Just go to your search engine, put in Daily with Doc and Becca. You will find us. Share us. That's what we're here for. Until next time, bye for now. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health. Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences, and the individual results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health. Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program